So Keel's finding that the processing of abstract information is likely disturbed in psychopaths due to organic sources, this suggests that it may not just be psychopath narcissism driving an aversion to high-level needs like self-actualization and related concepts. Keel has spent his career tracking a number of other neural distinctions in this population. And another really notable study was conducted with John DeCidi and colleagues, and this examined a basic assumption about psychopaths, that they don't care about the pain of others like non-psychopaths do. So how could they possibly determine this, caring about the pain of others in psychopaths and non-psychopaths, given propensity for deception in this population? Well, they constructed a study with incarcerated psychopaths who were high in psychopathy, above 30 on the Hare scale, and controls who were 20 or below, and also incarcerated, so an incarcerated control group, lower in psychopathy. In the experiment, they used stimuli that showed various types of pain inflicted to the limbs of people's bodies. So these would be familiar events that could happen in everyday life, like getting your finger caught in a door or catching your toe under a heavy object. Neutral pictures showed limbs in visually similar situations but without that pain component. So a hand on a door as opposed to being caught in the door. So participants viewed many stimuli, about 120 stimuli of pain and no pain images. The design of the study involved 24 blocks, 12 blocks of imagining the self, so imagining that the situations were happening to you, and 12 imagining another person, so seeing the painful images, imagining that these situations are happening to someone else. There were a total of 120 trials with imagine self perspective blocks and imagine other blocks in pain and no pain images. So let's unpack what they found here. The hemodynamic or blood flow response, indicating brain activity, was highest when imagining the self for psychopaths. They were not disabled in sensory motor arousal when they imagined themselves receiving the pain depicted in the pictures. And you can see this in the green bars. Low, medium, and high psychopathy participants are pictured there, and there is hemodynamic activity of a similar amount for the self in pain. But what about others? How do psychopaths and non-psychopaths respond to imagining other people's pain? Psychopaths were impaired in their response to others' pain, and you can see this in the purple bars on the right. Low psychopaths' response is going up, and medium and high psychopathy participants are showing a low response, a blunted response when imagining others in pain. The medium and high psychopathy groups, both in fact, were similarly blunted in brain activity in the right amygdala when imagining these pain events happening to other people. We've seen that psychopaths have organically rooted deficits in abstract language processing, response to the pain of others, and general emotion processing. They're more likely to consider their murders or crimes as instrumental, as having a legitimate cause. So people high in psychopathy are likely facing neurally based challenges in terms of emotion processing, social processing, and abstract thought. So what do we do with this information that the challenges for people high in psychopathy are largely biological, organically based, and potentially can be intervened on, but also potentially outside the reasonable control of someone high in psychopathy? First, when we think about how to address psychopathy, let's talk about psychopathy in the general population. 1 out of 100 people are estimated to qualify as psychopath, and that works out to about 1% of the general population. In prison, it's a different story. 1 in 5 prisoners are estimated to qualify as psychopaths. But also, some studies suggest that they might occupy higher proportions of particular occupations that have a lot of social status, not just the prison population. Ranging from 3 to 21% that might qualify as psychopaths for people in positions such as supply chain managers and corporate executives. Hare, in his work on psychopathy, has deemed this group snakes in suits. Dutton has examined which careers attract psychopathic individuals more than others, and he found that these 10 jobs are the ones that do so the most. For many of these, it's easy to see how some of the traits that we've covered that are associated with psychopathy could be adaptive for these jobs. For example, police work, decreased emotional response, low stress reactivity, fearlessness. These traits of psychopathy could help in the carrying out of successful police work. However, the other side of the coin is that there might be risks with these within these same occupations in some personnel for some of the other dimensions of psychopathy, which are especially dangerous and harmful if activated. This suggests that psychopathy touches our lives not only through reverberations from violent acts of criminals, but also through various kinds of people in positions of power, which leads to the question relevant to practical ethics or moral psychology: how might one help a psychopath and reduce psychopathy?